This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. So many of you have come to me and said, please tell us what you know about the tornadoes that took place on May 20th in Oklahoma. What I have found is so compelling that I cannot help but share it. NOAA website. Their image of the day from May 21st, 2013 was the satellite image of the Oklahoma tornado. It was acquired at 2:55 Central Time on May 20th, 2013. It says this image from NOAA Ghost 13 satellite shows the storms developing directly over central Oklahoma. 1 minute later, an incredibly destructive tornado touched down in Moore, Oklahoma, killing dozens and leaving the town utterly destroyed. My friends, this picture is an in-your-face image of exactly how this was created and exactly why it was called a direct hit tornado. Now, was this tornado and storm system man-made? Yes, it was. I'm not going to show you all of the chemtrails that went into it, all of the aerosol dumps and plumes that went into it to fortify the atmosphere, but I will show you in this one image how this storm was created. Here you can see on the west side of this storm, it is being driven by first chemtrails and then frequency that is being passed through these chemtrails, pushing it to the east. However, the northwesterly winds, moisture that is coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, being forced up with, as you can see, frequency, is coming against the opposing frequency, creating a stoppage of the storm and more intensifying of that storm. How do you create cyclonic action in a storm like this that you're manipulating and manufacturing? You barrage it with frequency. We have infrasound coming at it from the east. We have higher frequency coming at it from the east-northeast. We have a higher frequency coming at it from the south toward the north, and this is where we're getting the hooking action. We're driving up this sonic frequency, as you can see. You can see the pattern of it in the clouds. It's coming north. Then it's being pushed to the west as it comes up here. Then we have west-southwest frequency coming down while it's being pushed over, and that curls it over. So now we've got this cyclonic action, this tornadic action in these cells. This is the smoking gun. This is why they called this storm, this tornado, a direct hit tornado. They've never used that terminology before, but I'm going to show you why they're using it now. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a frequency plane. This is coming up from the sky, which tells me that it's either being ricocheted off the ionosphere and coming down from the ionosphere, or it is coming directly from a satellite. This is a high-intensity frequency plane, a sonic plane. It is coming down from the sky, cutting through the cloud system right here. Coming down and hitting this place right here, as you can see. It cuts off this area and creates a right angle. This is the first right angle that it creates, okay? Then it creates with the frequency coming down here, another frequency plane, as you can see, and you can see the evidence of the frequency in the waves of it coming downward. This frequency plane comes down and bends, it directs this frequency plane downward. We have numerous different directing frequencies, and these two are coming together to create right angles, angling to the left. In these right angles, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles. Okay? This does not happen in nature. Clouds do not right angle. They just don't do that. This is a frequency plane being brought down from above, directed down through the clouds, cause it to right angle with a southerly frequency plane coming to direct that frequency plane. And the reason why we see so many right angles in frequency manipulation is because frequency by itself, one frequency that's coming from one emitter, can only go in one direction. The only way you can bend its direction is with an opposing frequency. That's why we have this frequency coming down here, bending the direction downward. And as we were told by NOAA, 1 minute later, this tornado touched down. This is the smoking gun, my friends. This is how the tornado was made. If you've ever wondered how hail is created, the moisture goes up high into the stratosphere and freezes, falls back down, gains another layer of moisture on top of that ice, is undulated by this frequency, and the winds bring it back up. It's frozen, it falls back down, another layer of moisture is put on it, it's thrown back up by this frequency and these winds and goes back up in the higher stratosphere, freezes again, and this cycles over and over and over and over again. That's why we come up with baseball-size hail and softball-size hail and grapefruit-size hail. In this satellite image from NOAA, you can see the redness in the chemtrails that's fortifying this storm. These red patches are all over the place in these storms. And even the forecasters mentioned how that you could see the redness in the skies. And here we see it here, that the redness is in the sky and coming down in the rain. What do these geoengineers have in this chemtrail mix that is raining down upon these citizens of Oklahoma that is red? Is it human desiccated red blood cells? I don't know. Is it aluminum tipped fiberglass? I don't know. But something that they have sprayed up in the sky to fortify these clouds is now raining down on Oklahoma and the other states that were involved in this storm making process. Given the results of the storm, my guess is that what is raining down upon these people is just as nefarious as this murderous, treasonous tornado. Now, what would this tornado have looked like if it did not have the opposing directional transmission coming at it that turned it left down to the ground in that right angle? It would look like this. The frequency coming down here and not getting its opposing frequency until this flat plane right here, as you can see, draws it backwards. Right here. The frequency didn't get to it until this direction, all the way across the sky sideways. And you can see the rain direction is coming back this way. It's going the opposite way of this tornadic cyclonic action on this frequency plane that then is jettisoned back here by another directing frequency. This is what I would call a TTA oops. Daniel 7 tells us of the Antichrist. From Young's literal translation, it says, "And words as an adversary of the Most High it doth speak, and the saints of the Most High it doth wear out. It hopeth to change seasons and law, and they were given into its hand, till a time and times and a division of a time, that is, a year, 2 years, and half a year, or 3.5 years." One of the earmarks of the Antichrist is the hope to change seasons. If you control the weather, Satan is telling the powers that be, you will be as gods.
We will have an existential shock. A type 1 civilization has the power of an entire planet. They control the weather. They mine the oceans. They control volcanoes. They control earthquakes. The generation now alive is privileged to see the birth pangs of the birth of a new civilization.
So whoever the Antichrist is one of these people who is hoping to change the seasons and law. Who that might be, time will tell, with the signing of the 7-year treaty between Israel and her enemies and many nations. The Antichrist, according to Daniel 7, has the power to change the weather. That's what it means, actual seasons. Winter, spring, fall, summer. We know that Scripture foretells all of these plagues and weather and earthquakes and so forth, volcanoes and pestilence and so forth, happening in the last days. God has ordained it, whether man has postulated it and purposed it or not. Some of these things are man-made, some of these things are God-made, but they are all God-ordained. In other words, God allows them to happen. And as the Antichrist, his mission is to destroy the faith of the saints. And to destroy the saints, they are going to be worn out by him and given over to him to destroy for 3.5 years. This is one of the ways that saints, believers, some in the Bible Belt of America, are being worn out by the Antichrist already before he comes to visible power. Don't believe it when a non-believer comes to you and says, your God can't be God, your God can't be real, he is a sadist because he could not allow this to happen to innocent people. The rain falls on the just and the unjust, my friends. God is allowing the Antichrist and those who follow Satan to destroy the world piece by piece for a time until his day comes. As Jesus said in the last days, if these days are not cut short, no one would survive. Now we begin to understand. And make no mistake, this geoengineering is happening every single day. So when you ask me, do you think that this storm was engineered? Yes, they're all man-made. Is it all correctly manipulated? No. All of it is experimental. This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.